Good evening, pop quiz, hotshot. I've got a question for you. I've got a little bit of trivia. This can be your one question of the day. You don't have to answer any other questions. What do this apple, this strawberry, this cherry all have in common? Well, I know it's a tough one. They're all related. Okay, no, before you say, no shit, Sherlock, of course they're all related. They're plants. Of course, they're fruit. No, I mean, they're closely related. They're all roses. And I mean, that kind of rose. You go to the store, you buy your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whoever you're with, some roses. Yeah, these are roses too. A little different. I mean, I don't think you're going to the floor. The floor? Sure, you're going to the floor to buy these. Yeah. What I find fascinating about all of these fruit, you might not know this about me. I actually got into learning about plants because of a rose plant. And you might think, oh, well, that makes sense. Roses are really popular, but I'm talking about raspberries. Raspberries are also a rose. And in fact, so are all of these, many of which you may have heard of, many of which you may not have heard of. I've had probably everything on this list, with the exception of 2 or 3 things, and not all of the brambles, because there's just, too fucking many of them. But raspberries are interesting to me because basically wherever you live right now in the world, you're probably not that far away from a raspberry plant. They're incredibly common. Brambles in general are. There's over 1,300 species on every continent besides maybe Antarctica, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're there too. No. What I find fascinating about all these, though, is just the difference between so many of these plants. And yet, when you learn a little bit about plants, you kind of start to see the similarities. I actually have another fruit here as well that wasn't good enough to be shown in the intro of this video, a nectarine. And on first glance, when you look at these two fruit, you might think, oh yeah, they look kind of similar. Okay, you've got a red and yellow sort of blotchy colored fruit. But obviously, if you've had both of these fruit, then you know when you cut this open, there's a big ass seed inside. Don't eat that seed. I'll get to why in a moment. If you cut this one open, there's a lot of teeny tiny little ass seeds in here. You might think, oh, well, there's 5 seeds in this one because I cut it open, there's a star. It's usually a multiple of 5. I've found 40 in an apple once. That's too many. But what I find really fascinating is that you don't want to eat these seeds. And you can kind of eat these seeds, not too many, but you'll be fine if you have a few. I've seen people eat whole apples, and I just don't want to associate with those people anymore. So why can't you eat these seeds? Well, the same reason you don't want to eat cherry seeds either. Poison. What I find interesting, it's something I actually wanted to make a video on this channel, is a big scam that had been going around. This is a few years old, so I'm not on the bandwagon for any of this, but there were people out there promoting this supplement because supplements are very cheap and easy to buy and very affordable when you're buying poison and selling it to people telling them it's healthy, actually. And one of those was one that people pandered called vitamin B17, amygdalin. It sounds so scientific. That's a cool sounding name. I'm going to name all my villains amygdalin. It sounds cool. The problem with amygdalin, the problem with vitamin B17, which is not a thing, is it's poisonous. It's very poisonous. Your body turns it into cyanide. And in fact, the same kind of happens with this seed too. The seed contains a compound in it which your body converts into cyanide. Enough of those seeds, yeah, you're dead. You're gone. You're no more. And the same is true for cherry seeds as well. But what else you'll notice on here, on this list, if you look at the stone fruit specifically, the cherries, the peaches, the nectarines, and so on, almonds are on there too. Did you know, fun fact, that almonds are also a rose? God damn it, they're all roses, man. It's roses all the way down. But no, I really find this quite fascinating. Because I look at something like an apple, I look at something like a cherry or an almond. They look so different. If you've ever seen almonds in the shell or peach seeds in the shell, they look kind of similar. And then you look at something like a strawberry, of all things, what the hell? Where is that similarity? What I find interesting about strawberries, and then I'll go back to those raspberries here in a moment, is that strawberries are a pretty prolific family of fruits in of themselves, or genus of fruits, to be more scientific. But what is interesting is that technically the thing you're eating isn't really the fruit. You are consuming the fruit. It's just that the fruit is the little individual seeds on there. This is what's called an aggregate fruit. Kind of an interesting thing. And that's basically just any fruit that you eat where the seeds are sort of compoundly joined together. It's a weird, complicated thing. I would just say Google it, honestly. I'm not going to explain it well. I don't have a background in this stuff, but raspberries are actually what got me into learning about this in the first place, because like I said, we all kind of live near them. And when I used to work in produce, it took me working in produce. My whole life I was walking around in woods and things like that exploring, but I was never interested in the plants themselves I was seeing until I worked in produce. and I could smell those raspberries when they came in, and whew, talk about divine. If I die and go to heaven, I want that to be the smell it smells like. Also, I guess I have to believe in heaven, but the point still stands, right? It's a lovely scent, and the flavor is like that as well. If you have a good one, if you have the store-bought ones, they're usually crap, but my point still stands. But what was interesting is that when I saw them, I was like, man, this reminds me of something I've seen before. And sure enough, where I live, in fact, right down the road from me now, though it's not the right time of year, are like about 1 billion black raspberries. At the time, I would have never thought they were raspberries because they're the wrong color, but so many fruit are. Fun fact, did you know that there are red bananas? Did you know that there are blue bananas? Did you know that there are bananas with stripes? That's a thing. There are also bananas that can grow here where I live, and I don't live in a tropical area at all. But then I'm not surprised by that, I guess, because I have passion fruit outside, and they're doing just fine. Point stands. Fruit are fascinating. Roses are fascinating. The little list that I put here, by the way, is not extensive. There are so many more than this. You might be thinking, like, what the hell is an aronia or an amelanchier? An amelanchier, a serviceberry, a saskatoon. I love that name. And they're delicious, as so many of them are. It's a fantastic family, which humans have just thrived on for millennia. So I implore you to learn about them. Roses are fascinating. They're worth learning about. That's it for this video. I am still sick. I'm still getting better, but thankfully my throat's doing slightly better. It's like my 8th recording. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe. If you enjoyed the video and you want to help support the channel, hey, you can. I cannot stop you. The Patreon's down in the description below. I guess I've helped. All right. I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care.